Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. English news edition. Here are the top stories. Arta torch brewer in the fight against pandemia. Nearly 20,000 cases across the continent and deaths exceed 1,000 in Africa. Hello, welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. This morning, the Ministry of Defense hosted an emergency crisis meeting and the authority of the Ministry of Defense for relations with Parliament, His Excellency Mr. Hassan Omar Mohamed Burhan. This meeting was attended by the Ministry of the Interior, His Excellency Mr. Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, the Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, the Chief of Defense Staff, Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed, the Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie, Colonel Zakaria Adan Hassan, and his deputy, and the Director of the National Police, Colonel Abdullahi Abdi Farah, and the head of the Regimental Corps at headquarters, Colonel Wagdi Jam Musa, and the Colonel of the Armored Regiment, Colonel Dahir Hassan Abadid. The purpose of this emergency meeting is to discuss ways and means for the tightening containment. Indeed, the obvious conclusion is that this pandemic is taking on proportion. The number of people affected is increasing daily. The cause is that people are not following the containment instruction or are doing so with little or no respect. It is in this context that the government has decided to tighten containment. To this end, new directives have been issued. The defense and security forces are all mobilized to enforce this containment. It is also a matter of reassuring the population and making them aware of the need to respect the containment and the hygiene barriers. It is becoming crucial to get closer to the population to make them accept that containment is the only way to protect them and fight against this pandemic. And now the foundation of Diwan Az-Zakat, affiliated to the Ministry of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Property Waqf, launched this morning the distribution of proximity of the third and fourth installation of sponsorship of orphans for the year 2019-2020 in Balbala. This event took place in close collaboration with the Ministry of National Education and in accordance with the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health regarding barrier gestures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The distribution process took place in the primary schools located at Balbala 3, Balbala 7, and Balbala 10, under the supervision of the Director General of the Diwan Az-Zakat, Mr. Suleiman Hussein Musa, in the presence of the Financial Manager of the Foundation, Mr. Siraj Mohammed Abdullah, and the head of the Kalaf Department, Mr. Adan Hussein Adan. The orphans registered with the Diwan in the commune of Balbala, which had 758 orphans, benefited from the third and fourth installments, where each orphan received an amount of 30,000 Djibouti francs. Similarly, the foundation will distribute similar amount to orphans in the capital tomorrow. It should be noted that the Diwan Zakat is considered the official authority responsible for collecting zakat, and then we're distributing it to its beneficiaries. In addition to implementation of the orphan sponsorship program launched by the President of the Republic in 2007 on the occasion of the Prophet's birthday. Moving now to another subject, in a brief intervention during the distribution process, the Director General of the Diwan Zakat Foundation, Mr. Suleiman Hussein Musa, stressed the importance and position of sponsoring orphans in our religion, urging the population to take this initiative and contribute to this noble humanitarian project in order to ensure an appropriate future for these children. The momentum of solidarity continues that the fishmonger La Sirene, the Owl Group, and the Djiboutian Coast Guard have jointly launched a vast operation of distribution of fresh fish with a small symbolic sum for the benefit of 200 needy families in the neighborhood, Qarawil, in the town of Balbala. Indeed, the Coast Guard said it was proud to accompany the wave of solidarity for the most destitute families initiated by the fishmonger La Sirene Owl Group since the beginning of the confinement. We salute this symbolic and patriotic gesture by this company aimed at relieving the most vulnerable Djiboutian families. The Coast Guard is very keen to lend a hand to any company or individual who want to help families in need at this time when the effect of the confinement is being felt. The Djibouti Post Office of Djibouti, as a public service enterprise and operator of vital importance to the country, partially maintains the delivery of mail parcels and the transfer of funds to Djibouti students abroad, Senegal, France, Morocco, etc. To that end, measures have been put in place to guarantee the security of mail processing and the safety of postal staff, including the disinfection of post offices, the processing center and transport vehicles in strict compliance with the new rules on distancing and health safety. With regards to the safety of users, new working methods such as contactless home deliveries of parcels on doorstep or in offices have been introduced. SMS message replaced the signature of the acknowledgement of receipt to avoid contact. During this period of confinement, the Djibouti Post Office, with the assistance of the prefectures, has distributed the retirement pension of hundreds of elderly persons throughout the 5 regions of the interior, taking into account security measures. In addition, it should be noted that as part of the fight against the pandemic, the Post is hosting the call center piloting the 1517 platform by providing it with work spaces and a rest area. That is why it is also important to highlight the other partners of the platform. In this case, Djibouti Telecom, which provides the broadband internet connection free of charge, and CNSS, which provides daily support for the needs of this highly strategic body. Lastly, the Djibouti Post Office expresses its gratitude to the Ministry of Communication, in charge of Post and Telecommunications, which is the main initiator of this project and has been unceasingly supporting it since the beginning of this global crisis. And now for the weather forecast for tomorrow, 19 April 2020. The skies will be cloudy across the country with scattered thunder showers over the coastal and islands area in the morning. Intermittent rain are also expected over the southern part of the territory in the afternoon and evening. The wind will be light to moderate easterly. Visibility will remain good except showers, and the seas will be light to rough. The CNSS has just launched the construction of a new accommodation site or field as a hospital within the Arta Hospital compound. After the excavation and clearing works on the site, which other has each marked for this purpose, the CNSS has launched the construction of a field hospital which will accommodate 150 patients in 2 pavilions with 75 beds each. In addition to this, there are the toilets and the reserved areas for personal care assistants. The program also includes a 3rd pavilion, which will serve as an extension to the former intensive care unit of the hospital. This pavilion is designed to accommodate patients requiring respiratory assistance. 2 resuscitation anesthetists are already on site, and the ventilator are also on site. Once the pavilion is completed and the equipment is installed, this unit will be operational as soon as possible. The prefect of the Arta region, accompanied by the president of several members of the regional council, visited the site this morning to inspect the progress of the work. The prefect of the region also visited the second site. It is a second site not far from the hospital is being developed by the ADR. This second site, which belongs to the Fatashi establishment, is intended for the construction of a field hospital with a capacity of 150 beds. ADR carriers and relentless earth moving and clearance work on the site in question. For this reason, ADR sent a large part of their machinery and a team that takes turns day and night under the projector to complete the work as quickly as possible. Thanks to the numerous spaces available, its pleasant climate, and its low population density, the town of Arta is the ideal place to receive COVID patients in this COVID-19 struggle. Arta is in the first round due to its geographical structure. The prefect of the Arta region and the president of the regional council both expressed their thanks. With these 2 sites counting 300 beds, plus a 3rd one of 150 beds will be completed in record time and will be operational in the coming week. This symbolizes the government's efforts. Arta at the bedside of the capital in this fight of the COVID-19 pandemic, and are very illustrious by the requisition of the Arta High School to receive COVID-19 patients. This is the 3rd site designated for this purpose to relieve congestion at the Arta Hospital. All the high school classrooms have been redesigned with this in mind. They are going to have air conditioning medical beds for tomorrow, Sunday, by the Minister of Health. The teachers' room will be used as lounge for the caregivers. The prefect Sheikh was welcomed during his visit by the Director of Education, Abdi Dirir, who informed him of the work in progress within the establishment. For his part, the prefect sent to the site a representative of EDD and ONIAD Arta to help with the work in progress at the high school. Director Abdi Dirir has informed us of the containment at the Ministry of Education in this struggle of the COVID-19. With this third reception center of 150 places, Arta is positioned as the torchbearer of this fight against the pandemic, which is the pride of its inhabitants. In this mobilization of the city of Arta in the fight against this pandemic, the Training Center for Hotel and Tourism Trades, more known under the name of Sunny Hill Center, takes an active part in this mobilization. It is in charge of ensuring the accommodation of the doctors of the hospital of Arta, but also to the supply of food and drinks to the patients. Every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner are prepared meticulously by the cooks of the center and then are delivered to the hospital by a special van. The kitchen staff is responsible for the daily kitchen work. As for the room service, it takes of the rooms made available to the doctors. The Sunny Hill Center, which is closed during the period of confinement, has been redirected by the Ministry of National Education and Professional Training to provide assistance and serve as a base for the hospital staff and their patients. The Deputy Director and the Chief said they were delighted to serve their fellow countrymen and to take part in this struggle alongside the caregivers, proud to be able to take care of the caregivers whom they have called national heroes. After a 3-day training by the Ministry of Health's Hygiene Service agent, the Beer Business Association volunteered to disinfect all commercial premises, buses, administration, the annexed services of the hospital, the hotel center, and all vehicles circulating in the Arta region. The Bienfaisance Association takes care of the disinfecting every day from the capital's entrance to the region main places. This association thus demonstrates by carrying out these activities their civic mindedness and their contribution in this fight against the pandemic. Whether it is an association, local elected officials, prefecture, the whole population of this region are all mobilized to fight against this pandemic. And now in Ali Sabih, the Ali Sabih Regional Council hosted an awareness meeting on the COVID-19 pandemic yesterday morning. It was co-chaired by the prefect of the region, Musa Adan Migane, and the president of the regional decentralization body, Omar Ahmed Wais. It brought together many personalities from all social categories, members of the local branch, the Red Crescent, traditional chiefs, eminent ulama, many young people from the associative fabric, young leaders from different parts of the city, active women from civil society, local elected officials, and others who were not mentioned. It should be noted that the member of the parliament of the region, Mr. Abdi Khairi Bouh, also took part in this awareness day. The main theme of this information and awareness raising event was the intensification of the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. And this has been happening since the discovery through testing of the many public health professionals carrying the virus of this pandemic, which continues to spread on the African continent. The virus is very present in our city. It is a question of firmly stopping its propagation. The officials of the region have made known, customary chiefs and ulama have promised to intensify information to sensitize the local population against this virus. As for members of associations and young leaders of popular neighborhoods, they have undertaken to conduct an information and awareness campaign on the merits of containment to stop the multiplication of coronavirus cases. For their part, active women in society have been entrusted with the establishment of numerous hand-washing points such as the butcher's shop and other commercial places in the city. The Red Crescent branch of Ali Sabih has trained about 20 young volunteers in hand-washing techniques. The prefect of the region, Mr. Musa Adan Migani, and the president of the regional council, Omar Ahmed Wais, went yesterday to the care center prepared and attended to welcome the possible sick people of COVID-19 in the region of Ali Sabih. The site is located 3 kilometers from the center of capital city. The place had previously housed the Chinese engineers of the railway construction company. It was handed over to the region interested by the latter. The Minister of Budget financed the rehabilitation of equipment. The special coronavirus treatment center in Ali Sabih in the gendarmerie helped to install the material and equipment. The prefect of the region and the president of the regional council supervised and took delivery of the place, which was completely refurbished by the Ministry of Budget. The site was completely rehabilitated by the Ministry of Budget in close collaboration with the prefecture